confirmed. And Swinny is flying over as our correspondent live for the digital show in LA. So following leaked plans back in Feb, the ESA has officially announced that E3 2021 is indeed happening as a digital-only event. So last year's E3, which came after the pandemic, was cancelled completely, both as a live show and no online show to replace it. Whereas this year they have organised an online event that will be free. That's all they've said so far about that. There have been other reports that maybe there will be components that will be paid, but they have not spoken about that. It's only been said as free so far, and it's going to run from the 16th to the 15th of Feb 2021 this year. They have had some large companies say that they will be a part of E3, so Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, interesting, Ubisoft, Take-Two, WB Games, and Koch Media.
Koch.
No, it's not. It's Coke. You idiot. As always, Sony, which has already pulled out of E3 before anyway, have not entered back in. And there are some other major studios or publishers that haven't been participating in E3, although it feels like they have, but it's more just they've run shows on the side, things like Devolver Digital, Activision, not E3, EA, etc. So, but they will run, I'm sure, some of their large announcements in the E3 timing window as well. Swinny, are you going to watch all of these events live?
Well, he has to. He's our correspondent.
Exactly. You're a correspondent.
Somehow I've been given that job without my knowledge, but that's okay.
Voluntold.
Well, look, I'd hope that we all are interested in watching certain parts of it, especially the conferences. Yeah. Generally speaking, the conferences in the past have run pretty early in the morning over here, but not so generally maybe 1 a.m., 2 a.m. or something. So sometimes I'll manage to do it, but it really depends, obviously, on the timing and their schedule. But yeah, I'm pumped for some game announcements. Honestly, it feels obviously 2020 hasn't helped in a lot of ways for game development, but I'm excited to get some really cool stuff on the horizon. So.
Yeah, I think it's starting to normalize a bit, because I think last year with the cancellation of E3 and just how the pandemic is hitting everyone differently, it really almost thinned out the news in the sense of you just had constant small announcements all the time, which, for a show like ours that's weekly, it's good. But in the old days, I think there was a concentration around E3. I'm sure that people could have announced things earlier, but they were sort of like, we're 3 months away from E3. Why don't we schedule it for E3 and just have a big bang announcement then? So yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. It's weird for us, just selfishly as a show, because it's going to start basically when we record, around that time. So, I mean, it's good and bad, because it means that the following week we can do a pretty accurate playback of all the things that got announced at E3, because we'll have the time to do it. It won't be like a mad scramble. Unless they have some major announcements earlier, maybe some shows gone earlier, maybe Activision and EA will do some announcements leading up to E3. I'm not sure.
Well, I've heard that the week prior, at least a number of days prior, there's going to be media stuff happening.
Oh,
so
okay, interesting.
We'll probably, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some big stuff leak in leading up to that weekend. So.
Are we officially part of the media now?
No.
Damn.
We're outsiders, independent outsiders, who just piss off everyone.
I've
already been banned from Xbox PR.
We're the fringe.
Yeah, don't get near Kotaku.
No, that's easy to not get near it. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I like E3. Forget about its whole history and run and leaking media. Yeah, or would you want to be in the media? They leaked all the media details the other year when they ran it. I don't know if you remember that, Mike.
No.
Their website was not secure, so
oh wow,
people got access to personal phone numbers of journalists and everything.
Oh, actually, yes, yeah. I do remember that. There was a huge issue with that. Yes,
and pretty much every single female journalist had to change her number.
That's nuts.
It's disgusting. I'm really looking forward to it. Actually, I was thinking about it in the car this morning. I was like, look at Nintendo, because Nintendo is going to be a part of E3. They actually weren't a part of E3 last time. And it's kind of exciting to go, okay, maybe they'll, announce Zelda 2 or Breath of the Wild 2, I should say, So I'm already getting into that kind of hype, and it's still, 2 months away? So, no, it's cool. I like it.
Yeah. And they've said free online event, and then, as you mentioned, there's been rumors around potential, like paywalls and stuff. And I think there's wording that's since come out in media, like one sheets and stuff, that pretty much clarifies that there will not be paywalled content. I can't remember the exact,
right?
I can't remember the exact wording, but it sounds pretty set now that is not the case.
Okay, good.
So, business-wise, I think that would be a really stupid choice on their part. Just because I think with last year not running a digital event, I think that was a mistake. And then, doing that this year, I think you're just going to create a lot of bad will with people. I think the smart way to do it would be allow media to use things like Stadia or GeForce Now or, the online streaming things to allow them to play the demos. For people to hear about, the media got to play the demos. I want to play the demos. And then for next year, them to go, well, people want to be able to play the demos. It costs money to run that. So we're going to charge some money to do that. I think that's the way you'd play it out from a business sense if you're smart. And maybe that's what they're doing.
No, that makes sense. And they do have the tiered access for media. So they might actually do something like that.
Well, that's what that week, especially that week leading up to, like they 100% will be doing that. Like they will, do things like your parsec and your.
Well, I don't know if they've announced that though, because I was listening to some media, like gaming podcasts, but from media companies, and they're not sure at this stage if that's how it's going to work.
Look, I'm pretty certain they will be doing that.
I totally agree with you, Swinny. Totally agree that I think that's what's going to happen. That's what. It would be shocking if they didn't do it like that. And I think it would be really cool in the future if you could just play it like that. Like, I'd pay for that. I'm not sure. Like, how much would you guys pay for, just say it was like 1 week's access to the demos and, unfinished games?
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't pay?
I have to do it now. I have to do it now because I have to do it for the show. But otherwise, I wouldn't do it.
Well, that's the thing.
I could wait another week. Who gives a shit?
Oh, I definitely wouldn't do it if I didn't have the podcast. But Swinny, how much would you pay for 1 week's access? What would it be the max number?
$20.
Swinny.
For a 1 week access, are there
it's like to demos and games that might never come out, and
are they games that they announce at the event that we haven't heard? Then I don't know, like $30 maybe.
Yeah, I'd probably go about 30, 35 or something. I feel like 50 is crazy.
40? Would you do 50?
No. Even for the show, I feel like 50 is just like a joke. But I don't know, 30, 34.95 Australian. Yeah, I'll probably do that.
$4.95.
I don't know. Just looking in my mind, I'm thinking, I probably would do that in the end. But
$19.95. Nah. That's it for me.
How much?
$19.95.
Okay, fair enough. You are cheap. So, no, you know what? And I'll do it as a segue. So people who are watching the clip on YouTube will need to search for our coverage on PAX, and it's probably going to come out in random time. So just watch the full show. But we'll go to the next story, which is PAX. So PAX Australia.